The mysterious report, the alien council was never quiet. The great chamber always echoed with voices. Hundreds of different species sat around a circle of glowing lights. Their eyes, scales, and strange limbs pointed toward the center. But on this day, the chamber was different. On this day, silence fell. At the heart of the council table, a silver box rested. It was a data crystal, brought from a faraway research station orbiting Earth. The box carried a message, a report about the human species. The council members had read many strange reports before, but this one was different, this one was disturbing. The grand speaker of the council, a tall alien with glassy skin that shimmered like water, raised her hand. "Members of the council," she said, her voice echoing through the hall. "We face a mystery. A report has arrived that may change how we see the human race. It tells us something unbelievable, something almost impossible." The aliens leaned forward. Curious eyes glowed in the dark. Long ears twitched, sharp teeth clicked. A cloud-like being swirled with nervous light. Everyone waited. The speaker touched the silver box. The crystal projected symbols and sounds into the air. A calm voice of the alien scientist began to speak. Report number 47, subject, humans. Observation. Their ability to reproduce appears to have no natural limit. They can mate not once a season, not once a cycle, but every single day for some. Even many times a day, this should be impossible. Yet it is true, gasps filled the chamber. A lizard-skinned general hissed, "Every day?" Impossible, their bodies should break, they should collapse. A feathered alien shook her head. No creature can survive such stress, not without damage, not without death, but the report continued. Humans show no sign of breaking. Their bodies repair, their energy returns, their desire repeats, and they continue without pause. This is not madness. This is nature for them, the chamber erupted. Some laughed in disbelief, others whispered in fear. The council had studied thousands of species across the galaxy. Most races reproduced only once in a year, some only once in a lifetime, but humans, they had no limits. The grand speaker raised her hand again. "Order!" she commanded. Her voice cracked like thunder. The chamber grew quiet. She turned to the council. "Do you see the danger? Do you see the mystery? If this report is true, then humans are unlike any race we have ever known." The old archivist of the council spoke next. His skin looked like cracked stone, his voice was slow. "I have lived for many centuries. I have studied the records of countless worlds. Never have I seen such a claim. If it is true, humans are not only strong, they are unstoppable." A silence fell again. The weight of the words pressed on every mind. Some aliens shook with laughter, finding the idea too strange to believe. Others sat in silence, their eyes filled with unease. For them, the thought of a species with endless energy was terrifying. The speaker spoke again. "This report is not a joke. It was written by Dr. Varun, one of our best scientists. He has lived among humans for 10 cycles. He has watched them closely. He has tested their limits, and still he says the same. Humans can reproduce nonstop without breaking." A sharp voice cut the air. It was General Koresh, leader of the Outer Arm Defense. His yellow eyes burned with suspicion. "If this is true, then humans are dangerous. A species that never tires, never stops, never breaks. They are a threat to every world. A race like this could fill planets. They could overrun the stars." Another voice rose. This one softer. It came from a scholar with skin like glowing glass. "Or perhaps they are a gift," she said. "Perhaps their endurance is not a danger but a miracle. Imagine what such willpower could bring to the galaxy. If they can survive endless trials, maybe they can help others survive too." The chamber split. Some agreed with the general, fearing humans as a rising storm. Others sided with the scholar, seeing hope in humanity's strange power. But all of them felt the same thing deep in their minds. Humans were different, too different. The speaker lowered her voice, making every alien lean closer. "Council members," she said slowly, "we must decide what to do. This report changes everything. Are humans an ally or are they an enemy? Are they a blessing or are they a curse?" The chamber buzzed with voices again. Some shouted for war, some whispered for peace. The mystery of the humans had shaken the entire council. The galaxy itself seemed to tremble far away. On the little blue planet called Earth, humans lived their lives as normal. They laughed, they worked, they loved, never knowing that 1,000 alien eyes were watching them, studying them, fearing them, and wondering one thing: how could humans reproduce nonstop without breaking? The question hung in the air like a shadow, and the answer would change the stars forever. Alien curiosity. The council chamber was restless. The mysterious report about humans had left every member in shock. The voices of 100 species filled the hall. Their words clashed like storms. Their doubts echoed against the ancient stone walls. The speaker raised her hand, trying to bring calm, but even she could feel the unease. No report had ever created such noise, not even reports of war, not even reports of famine. Yet this one, about fragile little humans, had shaken the galaxy's most powerful rulers. After long minutes, the council finally grew quiet again. The speaker spoke, her voice clear and heavy. "We cannot ignore this report. Curiosity grows like fire, we must understand. We must know the truth with our own eyes." A tall alien with scales that shimmered blue like the ocean leaned forward. He was Chief Scholar Reshape, keeper of knowledge from the core worlds. His long tongue flickered as he spoke. "We need evidence. We need more than one scientist's word. If humans can do what the report says, then we must study them directly, watch them, test them, ask them, for the galaxy must not be ruled by rumors." Murmurs of agreement spread across the chamber. The archivist nodded slowly. "Yes, curiosity has already infected us. If we turn away now, doubt will eat us alive. We must learn everything about humans, their bodies, their minds, their strange power." General Koresh, always loud and fierce, slammed his fist on the table. His golden eyes burned with suspicion. "Study them, yes, but do not forget the danger. If humans are what this report says, then they are not only curious, they are a threat. I demand strict control, strict security. If even one human steps out of line, they must be destroyed." Many agreed, but others hesitated. A gentle voice came from the scholar with glowing skin. Her name was Lorana. She was known for her calm mind and sharp vision. "Not every strange thing is a danger," she said softly. "Sometimes the most unusual things are the most valuable. Perhaps humanity is not a weapon to fear, but a lesson to learn." The chamber split again. Voices rose, arguments sparked. The council was a storm of fear and hope. At last the speaker silenced them again. "Enough," she said firmly. "We cannot decide here with only words. Curiosity demands action. We will summon a team. A group of the galaxy's best minds. They will observe humans in secret. They will bring back answers." The decision was made, and within hours ships were prepared. Silent crafts with cloaking fields left the council's homeworld. They moved across the dark sea of stars, heading for Earth. On the journey, the chosen team gathered in their private chamber. There were 5 of them, each from a different race, each with their own reason for joining the mission. There was Scholar Reshape, whose hunger for knowledge was endless. He wanted to see humans with his own eyes. To record every detail, there was General Koresh, who came not to learn but to protect. He believed humans were dangerous, and he planned to prove it. There was Lorana, the glowing scholar, who hoped to understand the strange beauty of humans. She believed their endurance hid a secret gift. There was Dr. Varun, the very scientist who had written the first report. His scales were pale from worry. For 10 cycles he had studied humans, and still he could not understand them fully. He wanted the council to see what he had seen. And finally there was Ythol, a silent creature of shadow and mist. Sent by the archivist, his duty was simple: to watch, to remember, to judge. The 5 sat together, their ship drifting through the void. Reshape spoke first, his eyes glowing with curiosity. "Tell us again, Varun, tell us what you saw. Tell us how humans live without limits." Varun's voice was low, tired yet filled with awe. "I watched them closely. I measured their bodies, I tested their strength. I thought they would break, but they never did. I thought they would rest, but they never stopped. Day after day they repeated again and again, as if their bodies were made for endless struggle. And when I asked them why, they only laughed. They said it was normal. They said it was life." The others stared silent, trying to imagine it. Koresh growled, "And you call this normal? This is madness. This is a weapon hidden in their blood." Lorana shook her head, her glow dim but steady. "No, General, this is not madness. This is nature. Perhaps their will is what makes them special. Perhaps their hearts are stronger than their bodies. That is why they cannot stop," the shadow being Ythol whispered at last, his voice like wind in a cave. "Or perhaps They do not fear death. Perhaps that is why they endure. They walk into fire, into hunger, into pain, and still they rise. They are not like us. They are something else. The chamber grew cold with his words. Days later, their ship reached Earth. From orbit, they looked down on the blue planet. It was small compared to many worlds, but alive with light and movement. Cities glowed, oceans shimmered, storms rolled across the seas. Such a small world, Rishal whispered. And yet it hides such power. Koresh crossed his arms, his eyes sharp. Do not be fooled. Small things can be the most dangerous, Varun sighed, his voice heavy with memory. Now you will see for yourselves. Now you will understand why the council trembles. The ship lowered into orbit. Invisible to human eyes, the team prepared to begin their secret study. None of them knew what they would discover. None of them knew how deeply their curiosity would change them. For the truth of humanity was stranger than all their fears, stranger than all their hopes, and the galaxy was not ready for it. The human test, the alien research ship, drifted silently above Earth. Hidden by cloaking fields below them, the blue planet spun, full of life. Humans walked through cities, laughed in streets, and lived without knowing that eyes from the stars were watching. Inside the ship, the council's chosen team gathered again. They had argued, whispered, and planned. But now the moment had come. They would not only watch from a distance, they would bring humans aboard. They would test them, question them, see for themselves if the strange report was true. General Koresh paced back and forth, his heavy boots shaking the floor, his golden eyes glared. I still say this is madness. Humans are dangerous. To bring them here is to invite chaos into our ship. Lorana, her glowing skin soft and calm, answered gently. And yet we must, General. Fear alone cannot guide us. Knowledge must be earned, not imagined. We need to speak to them, to see them with our own eyes. Rishal, the scholar with blue scales, leaned forward eagerly. Yes, yes. Only direct observation can reveal the truth. I want to hear their own words. I want to measure their strength, their limits. I want to know what makes them different. Dr. Varun, the one who had lived among humans, remained silent for a long moment. Then he spoke, his voice low. Be careful, they are not like us. When you look into their eyes, you will see something you do not expect, something even I cannot fully explain. The shadow being, Yithal whispered. Then let us begin. Bring them aboard. That night, under the cover of darkness, beams of light reached down from the alien ship. 3 humans were taken from Earth, their memories gently clouded so they would not panic. They woke hours later inside the alien chamber, surrounded by strange figures. The humans were ordinary by Earth standards, 1 man, 1 woman, and 1 young soldier. They looked around with confusion, their hearts racing. The man spoke first, his voice shaky. Where are we? What is this place? Rishal stepped forward, his tall frame towering over them. His voice was calm but firm. You are safe, do not fear, we have questions, and you will answer. The woman frowned, crossing her arms. Questions? About what? Who are you? Lorana moved closer, her glow gentle like a warm lantern. We are travelers from far away. We study many species, and now we study yours. The soldier narrowed his eyes. He looked at the aliens without fear, only suspicion. Aliens, he muttered. So it's true, General Koresh growled. Leaning closer, answer carefully, human. We know of your strange ability. We know you can reproduce endlessly. Tell us, how is this possible? The humans blinked, shocked. Then the man laughed, a nervous, awkward laugh. Wait, is that why we're here? You kidnapped us. To ask about sex? The council team stiffened at the humans' blunt words. None of them expected such a casual response. The woman shook her head, smiling faintly. You aliens must think we're crazy, but to us it's normal. It's just life. It's nothing special. Rishal leaned forward eagerly, his tongue flicking. Not special? Impossible. Other species break if they attempt such a thing. Their bodies fail, their energy collapses, and yet you laugh? The soldier finally spoke, his voice firm. That's because you don't understand us. Humans don't just survive, we endure. Our bodies heal fast, our spirits push harder. When pain comes, we push through. When limits arrive, we break them. That's what we are. The chamber fell silent. The aliens stared at the humans as if they were seeing fire for the first time. Dr. Varun nodded slowly, his eyes heavy with memory. This is what I told you. They do not see it as strange. They see it as natural, they think nothing of it, and that is why they are dangerous. For them, the impossible is simply normal. Koresh slammed his fist on the table, his voice sharp. Do you hear them? They admit it themselves. They are not weak, they are reckless and unbreakable. If they can endure endless desire, then they can endure endless war. But Lorana's glow brightened, her voice calm. Or endless love, General. Do you not hear the truth in their words? They do not stop because they are cruel. They do not stop because they seek power. They stop for nothing because they love life. They love each other. That is their strength. The humans exchanged glances. Confused by the alien argument, the man finally asked, So what now? Are you going to keep us here? Run your experiments? Ythal, the shadow being, spoke for the first time, his voice like cold wind. No, not experiments, only answers. But know this, your kind has shaken the council. The galaxy whispers your name. They wonder if you are miracle or monster. They wonder if you are hope or danger. The soldier smirked. We're just human. That's all. The aliens stared in silence. For them, just human was no simple thing. It was the greatest mystery they had ever faced. Hours passed. Tests were made. Questions asked. Blood samples taken. Every result told the same story. The humans did not break, they did not weaken. Their bodies recovered fast. Their spirits stayed strong. At last, the tests ended. The humans were returned to Earth. Their memories blurred once more. They would never know the eyes that had watched them. The questions whispered about them, but aboard the alien ship, the council team sat in silence, each one lost in thought, each one carrying the same question in their mind. If humans could endure this, what else could they endure? The mystery had only grown deeper, and curiosity was turning into something else. Fear. Alien reactions, the human test was finished. But the silence inside the alien research ship was heavy. The 5 members of the council team sat together in the dim chamber. Their eyes glowed faintly, their minds filled with the same thought. Humans were real. Their power was real, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Dr. Varun stood near the observation table, his hands trembling. Now you have seen with your own eyes, he whispered. They do not break, they do not stop. They endure, and to them it is ordinary. To them, it is nothing special. General Koresh's golden eyes burned with anger. He slammed his fist against the table. Ordinary? This is no ordinary thing, this is a weapon. If they can survive endless desire, then they can survive endless war. Imagine an army of such creatures, never tiring, never falling. Breeding faster than any other race, they could fill worlds. They could conquer stars. Lorana's glowing skin shimmered softly as she answered. And yet you see only fear, General. You forget their words. They do not endure for war. They endure for life, for love, for each other. That is their strength. It is not destruction they seek, but connection. The chamber grew tense. Rishal, the scholar with blue scales, tapped his claws nervously against the floor. His voice was curious, almost desperate. But what does it mean? What does it truly mean for the galaxy? If one species can live like this, what else hides within them? What other limits will they break? The shadow being Ythal drifted in silence for a long moment. His dark form shifted like mist in the cold air. At last his whisper filled the room. It means they are unknown, and the unknown is the most dangerous of all. We cannot predict them, we cannot control them, and that is why the galaxy trembles far away. Back at the Grand Council chamber, news of the human tests spread like wildfire. Reports were carried across the stars, rumors twisted into legend. Soon, every corner of the galaxy buzzed with whispers of humanity. Some alien leaders laughed at the idea. Endless reproduction? Absurd, they scoffed. Humans are fragile, weak. They cannot be dangerous, but others took the news very seriously. On warlike worlds, generals tightened their fleets, preparing for the day humans might rise. On peaceful worlds, scholars gathered, eager to study humanity, hoping to learn their secret, and in the shadows, spies and merchants whispered, wondering if humans could be used or feared. The alien council itself grew divided. Some demanded humans be placed under control, kept under watch, maybe even contained. Others argued for alliance, believing that humanity's gift could strengthen the galaxy if used wisely. The speaker of the council called another great assembly. Thousands of voices filled the hall again. Each race spoke with passion, each argument sharper than the last. This species will overrun us all, cried one warrior chief. If they can reproduce without limit, they will flood the stars with their kind, and when their armies come, nothing will stop them. Another voice answered, gentle but firm. And yet what have they done so far? Nothing. They live, they love, they grow. They do not seek conquest. They do not raise fleets. Perhaps their endurance is not meant for war. Perhaps it is meant for survival. Perhaps we should learn from them. The chamber shook with voices, fear clashing against hope. Meanwhile, on the research ship, the 5 team members continued their own debate. General Koresh's voice roared like thunder. Mark my words, they are a threat if the Council does not act. If we do not prepare, humanity will rise like fire, and fire cannot be stopped once it spreads. Rishal's voice cracked with excitement. But General, do you not see the beauty? Do you not see the miracle? Every law of biology says it should be impossible, and yet they do it. They live beyond limits. They are proof that the galaxy still holds mysteries. Should we not treasure that? Lorana smiled faintly, her glow warm. Yes, scholar, I see what you see. They are not monsters, they are hope. In their endurance I see strength. In their laughter I see courage. Perhaps in them lies the answer to our darkest struggles. Varun shook his head slowly, his voice quiet. You are all right and you are all wrong. Humans are not demons, nor are they angels. They are simply themselves. And that is what makes them dangerous, not their strength, but their unpredictability. Ethol whispered again, his voice echoing like distant wind. The galaxy will never agree. Some will want to fight them. Some will want to worship them. Some will want to use them, but no one will ignore them. Humanity has entered the stars without even knowing it. And the stars will never forget. Outside the ship, Earth shone quietly. Cities glowed, oceans moved. Storms rolled across the seas. Humans continued their lives, unaware of the storm of voices raging across the galaxy, unaware that they had become the center of fear and fascination. In the council chamber, the speaker raised her voice once more. We stand at a crossroads. Do we treat humans as allies or as enemies? Do we welcome them or do we prepare to fight them? The choice we make today will echo through the stars for centuries, but no choice was made. The council broke apart in argument, no decision, no agreement, only fear and curiosity, and so the galaxy waited, watching the small blue planet, wondering what humans would do next, wondering if humanity's gift was a light for the future or the shadow of doom. Hidden fear. The council chamber was restless for many nights. The debate over humanity would not end. No decision was made, only louder voices and deeper arguments. But when the meetings ended and the lights dimmed, the fear remained hidden in every corner. Among the 5 members of the research team, fear grew quietly. It was not the kind that shouted with anger like General Koresh, nor the kind that glowed with hope like Lorana. It was a silent fear, heavy and cold, the kind that lived in the heart and whispered in the mind. Dr. Varun felt it first. He had lived among humans, studied them, laughed with them, even eaten with them on Earth. He had thought of them as strange but harmless. Yet after seeing the council's reaction, after watching the galaxy tremble, he realized something darker. Humans did not even know their own power, and that made them more dangerous than any weapon late at night. Varun stood alone at the viewing window of the ship, staring down at Earth. They live without knowing, he whispered to himself. They do not see how the galaxy fears them. They do not see how easily they could be turned into monsters. A race that does not break, a race that does not stop. What happens when someone tries to use that? General Koresh carried his fear like fire. He did not hide it, he sharpened it into anger, into warnings, into threats. You fools do not see it, he growled to the others. You see beauty, you see miracles, I see armies. I see endless numbers of humans filling ships. I see planets drowned in their kind. If they can reproduce without end, then they can fight without end. Do you not fear that? Rishal, the scholar, tried to laugh, but even his scales trembled. Perhaps, General, perhaps, but do you not also fear the unknown? What if their endurance hides something more? What if this is only one part of their secret? What else waits inside them? The shadow being Yethol answered in his quiet voice, Yes, that is the fear. Not what we know, but what we do not know. They are like a dark star, shining and hidden at the same time. We cannot see their end. We cannot see their limit. Back on the council homeworld, fear spread even faster. Worlds that had once laughed at the rumors now sent messages of concern. Fleets adjusted their patrols. Colonies whispered of human invasion. On the trading networks, stories grew like wildfire. Humans can mate every day. One message said, they will overrun us all. Another voice countered, no, they are not dangerous, they are only strange. But strange things often become dangerous. Merchants feared overpopulation. Soldiers feared endless armies. Even priests and philosophers began to whisper. Some claimed humans were blessed by a higher power. Others called them cursed. The galaxy's fear was no longer hidden. It was spreading openly inside the research ship. Lorana tried to fight the fear. Her glow was warm, her voice gentle. You all see only danger. But fear blinds you. Humans are not demons. They are not monsters. They are simply alive, more alive than us. Perhaps that is why you fear them. They live with a fire that we lost long ago. But her words could not erase the images that haunted the others. Varun dreamed of endless human cities spreading across the stars. Karesh dreamed of human soldiers who never grew tired. Rishal dreamed of experiments gone wrong. And Yithol dreamed of shadows filled with human laughter, loud and unending. Fear had found its way into every mind. One night, the research team gathered again. The room was dark. Only the hum of the ship filled the silence. Yithol's misty form swirled as he spoke. There is a story from my people, a story of the endless beast. It was not the strongest creature nor the smartest, but it never stopped. It never slept, it never ended, and because of that it consumed worlds. Perhaps humans are the endless beast of this galaxy. Karesh's golden eyes flashed. Yes, exactly, that is what I see, endless, unstoppable, unbreakable. That is why I say we must act before it is too late. Rishal shook his head, though his voice trembled. But what action, General? Do we strike them down now? Do we destroy their world? That would make us monsters. That would prove our fear greater than our wisdom. Varun whispered, and perhaps it would not work. Have you not seen them? They endure everything, fire, hunger, pain. They always rise again if we try to destroy them. We may only make them stronger. Silence fell again, heavy and suffocating. Lorana's glow dimmed as she looked at them all. Perhaps the truth is this. Humans are not to be feared because they will destroy us, but because they will change us. Their spirit will spread, their way of life will spread, and the galaxy fears change most of all. Her words lingered in the air, soft but sharp. The council back home demanded more reports, demanded answers. But the research team had no clear answers to give. Only warnings, only questions. Humanity had become a storm no one could control. The speaker of the council read the team's messages in silence. She felt the same fear rising inside her heart. She saw the galaxy splitting into two paths, one of war, one of alliance, but both filled with danger. The speaker closed her eyes and whispered, perhaps the galaxy is right to fear them, for hidden inside the heart of humanity is a strength no one can measure, and strength without measure is the greatest fear of all down on Earth. Humans lived their simple lives. They worked, they dreamed, they loved, never knowing that their laughter and their endurance had planted fear in the hearts of the stars. The fear was hidden, yes, but it was growing and soon it would break free. Human spirit. The research ship drifted in silence above Earth. The fear of humans had spread across the galaxy. But inside the chamber of the 5 observers, another voice rose. A voice not of fear, but of understanding. It began when Lorana, the glowing scholar, looked again at the recordings of the humans they had tested. She replayed their laughter, their calm answers, their strange confidence. She turned to the others and said softly, you see danger, but I see something else. I see spirit, I see will, I see love. Karesh snarled at her words, his golden eyes sharp. Love? Do not be fooled, scholar. What you call love may simply be madness. A madness that will spread like fire across the stars, but Lorana did not flinch. Her glow grew brighter, filling the room with gentle light. No, General, I have watched them closely. When they speak of their endurance, they do not speak with pride or hunger. They speak with warmth, they speak with joy. They say it is normal, and to them, normal means life itself. They do not break because they refuse to. They refuse to because they care. They endure not for war, but for one another. Rishal tilted his scaled head, curious. For one another? Explain. Lorana smiled faintly, her glow reflecting in her glass-like eyes. Think of it, scholar. To reproduce endlessly is not only about strength. It is about bond, about unity, about love. They endure not because they must, but because they want to. They share life not only to survive, but to connect. That is the human spirit, Varun, who had lived among humans, nodded slowly. His voice was tired but certain. She speaks the truth. I have seen it. When humans suffer, they do not suffer alone. When they fall, they rise together. They are not strong because of their bodies. They are strong because of their hearts. That is what I could never put into numbers. That is what no test could measure. Even Yethol, the shadow being who spoke little, swirled with quiet thought. His whisper came like a cold wind. Yes, perhaps this is why they frighten us. Not only because they endure, but because they endure for reasons we cannot understand. We fight for power, for land, for survival, but they fight for each other. They love as much as they live. That makes them different. That makes them dangerous in a way greater than armies. The team decided to test this idea, not with blood, not with machines, but with words. They brought the three humans back again. The man, the woman, and the soldier stood in the chamber, nervous but curious. Reshape spoke first. Tell us, humans, why do you not stop? Why do you push beyond limits? Why do you endure even when your bodies should fail? The man scratched his head, a little embarrassed. Why? Because that's just what people do. We don't think about it much, we just keep going. Even when it hurts, even when we're tired, we keep going because we want to, the woman smiled. Her voice gentle. We endure because of love. Because life is better when it is shared. We have families, children, friends. We keep going for them, not for ourselves, but for each other. The soldier's eyes were sharp, his voice strong. And sometimes we endure for things greater than ourselves. For duty, for honor, for freedom. We endure because we must, and because if we don't, everything we love will be lost. That is why. The aliens stared in silence. Their minds struggled to understand. For them, reproduction was duty, a task, a burden. But for humans, it was joy, passion, connection. Varun whispered, Do you see? Do you hear it now? They do not endure because they are forced. They endure because they choose to. That choice is what makes them different. Later, when the humans were returned once more to Earth, the chamber remained quiet, each alien lost in thought. Lorana finally spoke, her glow warm. This is their true strength. It is not their bodies. It is not their endless endurance. It is their spirit, a spirit that refuses to stop. Not because of fear, not because of command, but because of love. Reshape nodded slowly, his curiosity no longer wild but humbled. Yes, love. I never thought such a thing could be a source of power, and yet it explains everything. A body may break, but a heart that beats for others, that never stops, Koresh growled, but his voice was softer than before. Even if this is true, it still makes them dangerous. For an army that fights for duty may fail, but an army that fights for love, that is a war no one can win, Yethol's shadow whispered in the still air. Perhaps that is why the galaxy trembles, not because of their strength, but because of their heart. For hearts are harder to break than bones, Varun sighed, his eyes heavy. And they do not even know it. They walk their world, laugh their laughter, love their loves, never knowing the storm they have awakened among the stars. The galaxy fears them because the galaxy has forgotten what it means to live as they do. The research team prepared to send their final report back to the council. It would not be a report of blood or numbers, but of something greater. It would speak of human spirit, of will, of love. But they knew the council would not accept it easily. Some would deny it, some would twist it into fear, and others would see the truth. The galaxy stood at the edge of change. Humanity's secret was no longer hidden, and the real question was no longer what humans could endure, but what they would choose to endure for, and that choice would shape the future of the stars. The final decision, the council chamber was brighter than ever. 1,000 lights floated above the circle of seats, casting shadows across the alien leaders gathered from every corner of the galaxy. The voices of countless worlds filled the hall. Their words rose like waves, crashing against one another. At the center stood the speaker of the council. Her glassy skin shimmered in the glow. Her voice rose above the chaos. We have heard the reports, we have seen the evidence. The humans are unlike any species we have ever known. They endure without breaking, they live without limits. The question before us is clear, what shall we do with them? Silence fell for only a moment before the storm returned. Some leaders shouted for war, their voices sharp with fear. They are dangerous. If they can reproduce without end, they will flood the stars with their kind. Others shouted for peace, their voices filled with hope. No, they are not a curse, they are a gift. Their endurance, their love, their spirit, this is what the galaxy needs. The council split into two sides, fear against hope, doubt against faith. Far above Earth, inside the hidden ship, the 5 observers waited. Their final report had already been sent, but they knew the council would struggle. For their report was not numbers or weapons. It was words of love, words of spirit, and words were harder to accept than blood. General Koresh paced like a caged beast. His golden eyes blazed. They will never agree. The council fears what it does not control. They will choose war. They will prepare fleets. They will turn the galaxy against the humans. Lyrana glowed softly, her calm voice a contrast to his anger. And yet some will see the truth. Some will understand the humans are not monsters. They are life itself. They carry in their hearts what we have lost. That cannot be ignored, Rishal spoke next. His curiosity quieter now, touched with awe. I once wished to cut them apart, to study them, to measure their limits. But I see now there are no limits. Their secret is not in their bodies, but in their choices. And choices cannot be trapped in numbers. Dr. Varun leaned against the wall, weary from years of watching humans. Yes, choices, that is what makes them different. That is what frightens the galaxy. We live by rules, by cycles, by laws of nature. But humans live by something deeper. They choose to endure. They choose to love. They choose to rise again. That is why the council trembles, even Yithol. The shadow being whispered with weight in his voice. Perhaps the decision is not truly ours. Perhaps the humans have already decided. They live as they wish, they endure as they wish. Whether we call them friend or foe does not matter. They will continue, they will endure, with or without us. Back in the council chamber, the debate raged for hours. The speaker raised her hand again and again, demanding order, but order never lasted. The fear was too deep, the hope too strong. Finally, her voice cracked like thunder and silence fell. Enough, she shouted. We cannot agree, but we cannot delay. A decision must be made. For the galaxy will not wait. Humanity will not wait. Her glassy eyes scanned the chamber. Do we call them enemy, or do we call them ally? The chamber was silent. No voice dared to answer, and then slowly, the archivist rose from his seat. His cracked stone skin glowed faintly under the lights. His voice was old, heavy yet clear. I have lived through many centuries. I have seen wars. I have seen empires rise and fall. Always we feared what was different, and always that fear destroyed more than the difference itself. If we call humans an enemy now, we will create the very war we fear, but if we call them ally, we may find a strength greater than fear, we may find hope. The words spread like fire. Some nodded, some resisted, but none could deny the truth. The speaker lowered her head, then raised her voice one last time. The council cannot speak with one voice today. But let the record show this. Humanity is to be watched. Humanity is to be respected. We will not strike. We will not conquer. We will wait, and we will see. The decision was not war. Nor was it alliance. It was something more dangerous, patience. Humanity was left free, but under the gaze of 1,000 alien eyes. On Earth, life continued. People laughed, worked, and dreamed, never knowing how close the stars had come to fearing them, never knowing how the galaxy whispered their name. But above them, in the council records, one final line was written, a warning for all who would read it. Never underestimate the humans, for they are not strong because they must be. They are strong because they choose to be. And no power in the galaxy can stop a choice made by the human spirit. Inside the ship, the 5 observers stared down at the blue world, each one silent, each one carrying a new understanding. Lyrana whispered, perhaps we have not studied them. Perhaps we have only begun to learn, Varun nodded. Yes, the galaxy has seen their bodies, but not yet their hearts. The true test is still to come. Koresh crossed his arms, still uneasy but softer than before. If they fight for love, then they may be even stronger than I feared. Rishal smiled faintly. Then perhaps love is the greatest weapon of all, and Yithol whispered his final thought. Or perhaps the greatest shield. The ship drifted back into the stars. The council dispersed, and humanity, unaware of the storm it had caused, continued on. The final decision had been made, not to destroy, not to conquer, but to watch. The galaxy waited, fearing and hoping for the day when humans would step into the stars, the day when the spirit of humanity would face the universe itself. And when that day came, no one knew whether it would bring salvation or chaos, but one truth was clear. Written in the hearts of all who had seen them, humans would never stop. Humans would always endure. humans would always rise again, and the galaxy would never forget it.